Good morning, everybody. This is the United Stand. I am Adam, if you didn't already know. Just a bit of a change-up. Not done a morning show before, and it feels strange actually saying good morning rather than good evening and hello after a game, after watching what has been a lot of crap so far this season. But yeah, a little bit of a change-up this morning, going over what is happening at the club right now. There's loads of speculation and news on what Rangnick's appointment is going to bring for the future and what may be implemented after Rangnick has left his current role. Or, like Romano says, if he wants to stay on, I don't know about that. We'll get into that and obviously get your comments in and your questions in as well, guys. If you wanted to bring up anyone managerial-wise who may suit what Rangnick is laying foundations for. Guys, yes, quickly, first of all, to the footballing world out there, anyone travelling around, stay safe. It is carnage out there. The weather is horrendous where I am. I'm guessing it's the same where you are as well. Alfie's game got called off this morning because of a tree collapsed in the road, getting access to the football pitches. So stay safe. Don't do anything stupid on the roads either, guys. Yeah. I'm glad that our game is actually tomorrow and I'm not having to travel to Chelsea. I was contemplating going to Chelsea early doors, actually, but I completely made the right decision now with not going early and having to drive in this nightmare that is today. Anyway, let's get into it, guys. Morning to everyone. Hello to everyone in the comments. Ten Hag is the main headline. Obviously, people start putting things together now and start talking about the possibilities of what can happen once Ralph Rangnick's tenure of the 6-month period, at least, is done and dusted as his managerial and coaching role. I mean, it does open the door to a lot more options. And I said this yesterday. I did say that, look, it just gets everyone a little bit more excited because the structure is starting to change. The outlook of Manchester United is starting to change. So we've heard about managers that we could have possibly been going for when Oli was sacked. We've heard of all the options and everything and everyone that all the fans wanted, the Ten Hags, the Pochettinos. We talked about Brendan Rodgers. Well, now it does open up all the angles for us in the summer because Ten Hag will come in and just, like I said, Wreck-It Ralph and just clear the decks. He literally will just go bang, 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 yes, 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 no, 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 straight away move into the advisory role, having worked with this team for 6 months and say to the next manager, boom, there you go. Where we're at with Rangnick right now, obviously, the agreement now is in place with personal terms and with Moscow. So all we're waiting on is the official announcement now, which we're expecting today, hopefully this weekend at least. I would have thought today because we've got a game tomorrow and it probably wouldn't be right on Carrick dropping that bomb just before the Chelsea game. So we're expecting that announcement today and we will bring you that when it does come, obviously. But yeah, so Rangnick, his role, what he's going to bring, certain players starting to worry. I heard Mark touch on some of the players last night, actually talking about not feeling, a bit upset about not being kept in the light about what's going on with the managerial situation, who's coming in and whatnot. Well, sorry, I don't care. I do not care. Sorry, I'm just going to get rid of this. That was my fault. Yeah, so I don't care what the players think. The players don't have any say whatsoever on this. And I think we're finding out now that some of the players are actually starting to panic a little bit. Rangnick has spoke about a few United players already. We're going to get into that. But let's talk about Ten Hag first of all. And guys, get your comments in on Ten Hag. People don't think he would take the role. Well, I would have been in that boat if Ralph Rangnick wasn't coming in. I didn't see Ten Hag happening personally. But like I said, with a complete overhaul of structure change, this brings in the likes of Ten Hag. This brings in the possibility of nailing down Pochettino even more because Pochettino hasn't really put his name in the hat until the end of the season. I mean, Leonardo's come out, in fact, for PSG, sporting director of PSG, and said that Pochettino has shown or asked or not asked about leaving PSG. We are not concentrating on anything else other than the current campaign. Pochettino is PSG manager. We're not looking to change, and that is that. So if you look at that, Pochettino gets to the end of the season wins his trophy, gets his league title, which we know he will do, then where does that change for him? Does that change the outlook? We don't know how they're going to do in the Champions League, which, by the way, we could be getting in the next round now because City have won their group. We've won our group. So we could, in fact, be getting someone like PSG in the round of 16 of the Champions League, which will be interesting. Pochettino coming to town and then Rangnick schooling him and knocking him out. Oh, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. That front three does scare me still, though, even though Pochettino apparently isn't getting the best out of him. But Pochettino, I think now, has probably moved to the side. The club will say, look, Pochettino is still our main target. A lot of people are still saying he is number one to carry on from Rangnick when he leaves in the summer. But right now, and one man who hasn't, and he hasn't come out and said, look, I'm not going for the Manchester United job, is Ten Hag. Ten Hag has said, look, I'm concentrating on Ajax. I wouldn't even contemplate on leaving Ajax halfway through a season, especially the season that they're having, which is one of pulling up serious trees, because they are absolutely phenomenal this season so far and absolutely smashing it, not only in the Eredivisie, but in the Champions League, which is, I think, their big one. The way that they're playing against the big guns at the highest level is what we need to look at more rather than the Eredivisie. A lot of people will say, look, it's the Dutch league. I mean, come on. You'd expect him to do well there. Yeah, fair enough. But the amount of goals they've scored, the amount of goals they've conceded, the run they're on, carrying that into the Champions League, like I said, at the top level, there you go. Says everything you need to know. And he hasn't ruled out a move to Manchester United. And I've listened to plenty of Dutch journalists, Dutch specialists talking about Ten Hag, and they've all pretty much said the same thing. He would be perfect for Manchester United. He would definitely develop youth and build a structure. The best thing about it now with Ralph coming in and his role is that he will have a say on what actually happens next at United. He will actually have a say on who might come in next. So that already being laid out for him makes Ten Hag more of a favourite now for me than anything else. I mean, I do believe the Pochettino story will gather pace again once the season is finished. And a lot can happen in this next 6 months. It really can. It is going to be interesting. We don't know how well. I mean, Romano said, like I said at the start of the show, that Ten Hag, Ralph Rangnick isn't put off by taking on the actual United job full time. Kev, I'm not doing a dab, mate. No morning dabs. No, I'm not doing the dab. No. So yeah, Kev's in the chat, people. So back to Rangnick and what he will bring in terms of this next manager. Ten Hag, I think, is ideal personally to come on after Rangnick. I mean, guys, who do you think? Do you think United should be going and looking at anyone else? I think we can wash our hands of Brendan Rodgers now. I think that's done and dusted. I do think Pochettino, especially with the words of Leonardo and what's come out, if they do progress and get trophies by the end of this season, then that will be Pochettino out of the way. But the one man, like I said, Ten Hag, who hasn't said no to the job, only it has to be in the summer, is that has to be our main target right now. And I'm sure Ralph will be looking at that. I'm sure he will be assessing things through his tenure now in this next 6 months, going, right, okay, this player, that player, I know what. And my reputation and the reputation he's built up as his director of football sort of role and his knowledge of football, he won't be wanting to jeopardise that by bringing in a manager that is, well, it's not suited. It's going to change what he's built on and change the foundations that he's actually laid. I mean, this guy is coming in here, and the only reason Ralph is coming into the football club is because of this 2-year football director advisory role that's coming. He wouldn't have come for 6 months and left. The reason that every United fan and every sceptical United fan, and I said this appointment of Ralph would unite the fan base and the split fan base, which it is at the moment, is because he is proven in what he does coaching-wise. He's proven in his methods and his tactics. He's lauded by all of the big managers in the world. And he's coming to our club to change the structure because he's not going to leave Manchester United and his reputation in tatters. He knows, and he would have done his own work about Manchester United, how bad things are, how bad things have been run. So he's come in and he's just going to say, right, I am doing this, changing this, putting this in place, getting this ready for the next man. And that will be my work. And I will carry on doing my work and making it as best and leaving Manchester United in the best position as possible when I go. And that is what Ralph is doing. For me, cross the T's, dot the I's, break it all down, assess everything, Ten Hag. It just cries out Ten Hag to me. I can't see any other manager. I don't see anyone ahead of him. I really don't. And yeah, people, like I said, he's going to win the Dutch league. Poch will win the French league. Who else is there left out there? The manager of Manchester United now will be one of the new up-and-coming managers. The big guns are all gone. We missed out. Them ships always sail when United need a manager. So United now are doing it right. Our manager now next has to be one of the big guns, one of the up-and-coming managers. And Ten Hag is one of them. And I do think that is the way that United will go down. I think Ten Hag will be on board with it as well, because he will get money and he will have one of the best youth setups around. I do think he will look at it and go, I can test my mettle now against the elite, the best, the Contes, Tuchel, Klopp, Guardiola before Guardiola leaves. I think Ten Hag will be going, right, okay, with what Rangnick's done, I do believe that this is the right time to go in. Because I was worried that he was going to wait for Pep to go and then move in at City. And that would have been a disaster for us. That would have been an absolute disaster for us. And we cannot let this happen. We have to get ahead of the curve now, because we're being left behind constantly with all of these managers and things being worked on in the background. United are so far behind on it. This is a massive step in the right direction. And I think Ralph will already be looking at the likes of Ten Hag and how he plays the high press, the through the lines. And that type of player now is what I think Ralph Rangnick will be starting to wean out, find out who works, find out who doesn't, and put it all in place. Set the jigsaw up for Ten Hag to come in and just piece it together easily. It's like when you've got a full table, big 1,000-piece jigsaw jigsaw, and you basically just set the square out. You put all the pieces in place, just not connected them together. The next manager comes in, click, 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 because of what Ralph Rangnick is putting in place right now. That's the best analogy I can think of, because United is a complex animal right now. It is struggling. It's going to take a brain like Rangnick just to crack the surface of what is needed. And then you roll in the cavalry. That's Ten Hag for me. Don't know what you guys think. Roro.p.29 says, personally, we'll only believe changes when they happen over 2-3 years. Hopefully, Ralph appointments, first step in the right direction. Big up to you, Adam. Hey, you couldn't have said it better. It's pretty much what we're going on about. It is going to be a long process, but I think we will start seeing, because I do believe that this squad, and we've always said this squad is capable of challenging for the title. Whether it's capable of challenging for the title now under this regime of Ralph Rangnick and the way he plays is another question altogether. And that's what we need to see. And that's where I believe and understand that super chat there, that Ralph is going to need time to get into these players. I heard Jurgen Klopp's interview yesterday, and Jurgen Klopp was saying he's the only thing he's going to struggle with is the fact that he's not going to get time with the players on the training ground because we play so many games. Fair point indeed, because well, let's be honest now, we've got a bit of time over the next few weeks, because strangely December around Christmas time is quite spaced out fixture wise. But how soon will Ralph's vision come across? That's the next one. That's what we've got to be patient with, I think, as a fan base, because we know how lazy a lot of these players are, and they're going to work their asses off now like they've never worked them off before. And it's going to take time. I think we'll see the setup, we'll see the direction, but it's not going to be running on all 4 cylinders. This could be a 6-cylinder, straight 6, absolute beast 5-litre engine when it's going, but it's not all going to be there straight away. We have to dissect it. We have to put the right parts in place. We have to fine-tune some of it, maybe torque it up a little bit, get the engine to its ultimate, and then release it. And I do think the upgrade will be Ten Hag. That'll be your Formula One winning motor next season, and that might be the way. I don't want to write the season off. I don't feel like we should do. I do feel like this team has a trophy in them still, possibly an FA Cup. 100% bare minimum is Champions League. And I think Ralph will know that, because the next manager will want to be getting his teeth into the top quality competitions as well. Christian says, not feeling Poch and ability to get control of big players. We've got a lot of players on big wages who get away with so much. Need someone dominant. Yeah, I do feel that. I don't think Poch is completely useless in that department. Useless is probably the wrong word. I think he has got the biggest egos of all. And I do feel like he has got that in him. He can get that right, but I understand where you're coming from. And who will be here when Ralph finishes? That's the question. I'm going to get into that in a minute. I'm just going to bring up a few super chats. Carl Lam, a.k.a. Tone Wizard. That's a YouTube name and a half, that one, mate. First time in a long time I have felt we are making real progress. Cheers from Canada, Adam. No problem at all, mate. I totally agree. I can feel that in the fan base, and this is what I'm saying. It does feel like everyone is getting on board with this. It's uniting the fan base, and it is the biggest decision that this football club has made post Sir Alex Ferguson, because this is a complete change. We got it wrong so many times, but now it does look like we've made a massive step out of the blue in the right direction, and that's why a lot of the fan base is well on board with this. Nicholas Addy says, Rangnick insisting on control indicates he is savvy to what he's doing on at the club. A big boy's in charge. Yeah, I hated feeling smarter than the coach. That's it. I mean, it's exactly that. He's putting things in place in this contract that he signed, like I said, mate, Nicholas, and he's making sure that his reputation isn't going to be put on the line by the ineptitude of this football club and how it's been the last 10 years. And he's making sure that he is in the position he needs to be in to implement the reputation that he has got. And that is massive. Media already falling over Rangnick, extra pressure. I mean, he's a German, mate. I'm not just saying that. I do think that he will be able to handle it. Like I said, he knows what he's coming into. He knows. And I'm guessing conversations would have been had with Sir Alex Ferguson already. I'd be amazed if they haven't. I do feel like we are in a position now where we've got a man coming in who can handle it. We know he's there for 6 months and then he's moving upstairs. So sort of, it's not a free hit. I'd say that's what Carrick's got right now. But Rangnick is in a position here where he can just go, right, okay, I can really go in at this because I'm only here for 6 months. And if we fully commit to this interim manager, then we are going to do this right, because I don't think he should carry on past the 6 months, even if he does spectacular. I do feel like we need to commit to this decision. We do need to be 100% on the way we're working this. I have been convinced now that even if he does do well, we can't fall into that trap again. And I know he's a different quality of manager, but I do feel like we need to fully commit, and I think we are going to do that. And that's what excites me even more. Kev's in there. I still can't believe Man United have made a really good football decision for once. Mate, I know. It is absolutely crazy. I had to take a double check. When I seen the news breaking, I had to double check that we was actually the club making this move, because I think I tweeted it out. I said, it sounds too good to be true. United making football decisions. Absolutely crazy. But then my American friend, who is well up on American franchise, the way it's all run over there, messaged me. He said, look, it gets to a stage with a lot of these American owners where they have to absolutely admit that they are going to lose their asset or lose control of their asset if they don't bring in the best in class to do things right. And he's 100% right, because we was on a downward spiral and they just swung it around with one appointment like that. It's annoying that they can do that and why they've not done that before, but now it's in place. I'm just going to try and be a bit happier about things, because I know football is at the top of the agenda. That's what Ralph's bringing in. Scott with a super says, all right, Adam, listening to Ralph's breakdown on his philosophy on the coach's voice was absolutely music to my ears. Massive changes coming. 100%, mate. Massive changes are coming. And I'm going to get into the players in a minute and what their actual mindsets are like and what they're thinking right now. And you know what? I don't care. I don't care if they're shaking in the boots. These lot need a kick up the arse. Karen took the kids. Adam, next time you're doing jigsaw, starts with the corners, make it way easier. Mate, I know. I remember doing them when my Nana and Granddad, the good old days, mate, when you didn't have mobile phones, tablets and social media. You had to entertain yourself at a weekend when the football was on one channel, I think, that I can remember. Right. Who's this? Delicate official. I want to address player sources saying they were unhappy about not being kept in the loop about the hiring of Rangnick. Get your working boots out. Worry about performing. Can't fault the board, especially when we leak like a sieve. Yeah, I mean, I'm totally with it. I don't give a toss what the players think. I really don't. I don't think they should have any say whatsoever. Couple more supers in here. Completely agree, Adam. Get Ten Hag, and if we can persuade Eric van der Sar as well, Ten Hag, Eric Edwin, and Rangnick. Just imagine this team. You know what? I'd just be happy with Ten Hag and Rangnick, mate. But I understand where you're going with it. That would be a team above with a serious structure in place. Can you want it? I'm not even going to get that far ahead of myself. I'm not. Spencer, I'm so glad I stuck with United through the years of absolute garbage. There's finally lights at the end of the tunnel. Dare to dream. Mate, it doesn't matter if it's crap or if it's brilliant. You always stick with your team. We just debate it and talk about it. You're always one team. There's only a one-team fan. That's how it has to be. No one should be swayed or even think about jumping ship. It's just the crap we have to deal with, and that's why we moan a lot. Because we want more. We want more. Joseph, I can see Ralph recommending a manager who already understands and plays to his philosophy. Agreed. Don't dismiss Nagelsmann coming to the club. See, Nagelsmann, I understand where you're going, and yeah, it's a fit, but I think the ship's gone, mate. Again, like I said before, I do feel like we miss out on the best managers all the time. We could have had Pep, we could have had Klopp. You know what I mean? Tuchel, I'm sure, at one point was available. Nagelsmann was definitely available. Do you know what I mean? We could have made the move for all of these. Poch was available, but we went with Solskjaer. And literally all of them names that have just been rolled off is because Solskjaer, well, not Klopp and Pep as much, but the Nagelsmanns, the Poches of the world, these have gone by the wayside because we stuck with Ole in the end. So this is where we're at. I know what you mean. He is a big admirer of Rangnick, but I do think, again, we've missed that ship. Dave says, Rangnick permanently depending on how he does. I don't think he will. Honestly, I can't see the club going with it. I can't see United committing again to something like that. And no, I'm being solid. I'm being strong. Stick with the interim. And let's just go with that. Zane's in. Zane, are you up early, mate, today? Worried about the Gunners this weekend, pal? Adam, new manager who is coming in has not won anything. Typical Zane won this. It won't help when you face us. You still have the same coaches. Well, no, not necessarily, mate. We do know that he is bringing in at least two of his own team. So coaches are going to be going by the wayside, Zane, mate. And I would say opposition fans are starting to worry. I'm not really worried about opposition fans' comments at the moment. Zane is obviously always here every single week. So, yeah, we'll always listen to you, Zane. You do give us a laugh, mate. But it's the managers. I'm listening to Tuchel. I'm listening to Pep. I'm listening to Klopp. They're the ones who are starting to think. The fact that Klopp says it's not good for the rest of the league tells you everything you need to know. You don't need to worry about what the fans are thinking. They're obviously going to be as biased as they can be and try and brush it off Like, it's not a big thing. We do know we've got issues, but when them managers start talking about what Rangnick can implement, then you've got to look at it and go, yeah, this is serious. And I think that's where our players are at right now. But again, before I move on to the players, I do feel like Ten Hag hasn't distanced himself from the job, hasn't distanced himself from the opportunity of working in the Premier League. The other big clubs are gone. Ten Hag isn't going to get a manager this summer. Maybe he won't get another opportunity in the Premier League at one of the big clubs. Who are City going to get when Pep goes in 2023? That's an interesting one, yes. But I do feel right now that Ten Hag would have to look at this as an opportunity to go, right, okay, this is my time now to go and join the elite, compete in the most competitive and demanding league in world football, alongside what arguably is the biggest lineup of elite managers anywhere in the world. I mean, we have got the top, I would safely say we've got the top 4 managers in the world in the Premier League right now, in Pep, Klopp, Tuchel and Conte. Do you know what I mean? Conte's come in, his stats don't lie. He's made a mistake in going to Spurs, but he's still here. And Tuchel, Champions League winner. Pep, well, say no more. Klopp, that's it. We have got the best in the world. And an up-and-coming manager like that now, who's done his time like Ten Hag does at Ajax and produced what he has, and I'm sure will produce trophies at the end of the season. Now's the time. Is he going to turn this opportunity up? Is Manchester United with, I would say, and I've said this before on the show, I've said, look, United haven't got the pull that we used to have. But with someone like Rangnick in place and the people that he's putting in place, it opens up so many doors for us that brings Ten Hag to the table. And that's why he's interested in the job more now. And I don't care what anyone says, he's not said he wants the job. He will be looking at the Manchester United job 100% now. He will be, because, like I said, no one stays in the Eredivisie. No one stays in the Dutch league. Yes, you can build yourself a reputation, but if you have got any aspirations, you have to move on. Nagelsmann did it from RB Leipzig. He went to Bayern. Yeah, that is the German league, but Bayern is a huge outfit. He's moved to the next level now. He's expecting Champions League trophies. Ten Hag is the next one to make the big move. He is. And there's a big club being laid out on a table with a red carpet leading up for him in the Premier League in Manchester United for the summer. And that is where I think United should be throwing their eggs. That is the basket that we should be throwing our eggs to. Ten Hag, what do you want? What do you need? Tell us. Speak to his representatives now. Speak to Ralph. Get the foundation. United seriously contending for the league this season. I have to accept that the change in philosophy and style, like I said, will be a patience game now. And yeah, we shouldn't be doing it. Manchester United shouldn't be accepting that. But realistically, it has gone down that route, and we're just going to have to get on board with it. Getting into the players, I mean, he has been speaking. We know he's been speaking about Shaw. We know exactly what style of play he likes, the high press, the 4-2-2-2-2, 2-2-2-2, whatever it is, the adaptability. I'll go into my team as well, actually, in a minute that I said, and see what you guys think, because a lot of you have asked about my team and how I think Ralph would set up and what I would do and what I think he would implement into a style. But, I mean, interesting what he says about Shaw. Shaw is going to have to really graft, I think, to get in Ralph's team. I've got him in mine. He is in my team, but I do believe that Tellez will be pushing him, especially now, because let's not forget, I don't think he's going to spend any money. I'm confident that he's not going to spend any money in January. I don't think the board will give him anything. So, honestly, I'm looking at the players we've got. We have to be realistic. The players we've got now are the ones that Ralph is going to be working with. So, let's just judge it off that. I mean, he has also talked about Paul Pogba. I mean, going back to when he said he reminds him of Naby Keita, who is at Liverpool. but he would not swap Paul Pogba for Naby Keita. Now, that is interesting on its own. I mean, that's why Fred, believe it or not, guys, Fred has come into my Ralph team. I just want to see these players being coached. And there's so many players, and I've said this before on some of the shows, that I want to see how they react on the proper coaching, different coaching, because I don't think we have got the best in class or elite coaches at this football club right now. We are about to bring in the best. So I want to be able to give these players a chance. I do believe in the way Ralph plays that Fred's got a better chance than Paul Pogba. I can't believe I'm saying that. But that's probably because I believe Pogba's already at Real Madrid. I don't think Paul Pogba is a Ralph Rangnick player. I'll just be honest and say it now. I don't. The fact that he's injured probably helps him at the moment because it's a problem he doesn't have to deal with. I mean, how many players are going to leave this summer, leave this winter, even by the end of the season, going the summer? That could be interesting again. Quickly before I go through the rest of the team, I'll just bring up a few super chats. Who in the club is the one who decided on Rangnick? Because it wouldn't be any of the Glazers. No, it wouldn't. They would have never heard of him. Sir Alex, Ed Woodward. Well, this is the thing. Finally, the team that the Glazers have in place have made a football decision. I said this. The Glazers are a problem, but not the football problem. The football problem right now is the team, the directors, the Ed Woodwards, the Murto, whoever it is that have been in place since David Gill and Sir Alex Ferguson left. These are the football problem. Their bigger outlook is obviously the Glazers, and that is an issue on its own, bigger than anything else. But for me, the Glazers, have not got a Scooby-Doo who Ralph Rangnick is. They haven't got a clue who Ten Hag is. They know nothing about football. We heard that pleb talking about Ronaldo. Was it Avron Glazer? Absolutely clueless, not knowing anything about Ronaldo and the history of Manchester United the other day. So we know. Liam Henning says, I suspect Ralph has his replacement in mind. Glad I named my new puppet Ralph too. Top name, mate. Ralph the Red. That's the one. Ralphie's a Red. But yeah, getting back to cheers for the super sticker again, Zay, mate. Bang on, mate, with the supers. Yeah, getting back into the team. I mean, are we fully expecting max exodus now with the way things are going? I said there alone. I still go into my team actually now and then bring off a few players that I think might actually be outskis or surplus to requirements, let's say. Hang on, innocence mover. Damn, drank it all. Anyway, if we win tomorrow, it's only 9 points to the top. Please, Carrick, just win. I mean, we'll touch on the game probably later on in tonight's show. We'll be back at 8 o'clock tonight as well, guys. So, I mean, my team, obviously, David De Gea was in goal. And I went 3-5-2 with the adaptability factor because I know that Ralph will change it up. And this is going to interest a few people now. So I went with a back three, pure centre-backs. I didn't bring anyone back. I resisted the urge to play Luke Shaw as one of the centre-backs as well. So I did have Maguire. Again, I still think there is a player there. And don't get me wrong, he has been absolutely woeful. He has been shocking. But there's a player in there. And this is what I was saying about Ralph when he comes in, cracking the whip and getting players in shape and getting the confidence back in the players' games. I do feel like Maguire is one who could benefit from that. It needs a massive turnaround because he has been like he's forgotten how to play football. But a clean sheet in the week, a win, like Carrick said in his presser, bringing that little bit of a winning mentality back, a bit of a vibe back again that they'd lost. I think that's more of a permanent thing with Ralph coming in. So I do believe that my back three, Varane, Maguire and Lindelof, you could even put Bailly in there. Again, we don't know what Ralph is going to do with this team. He made us say, look, Lindelof, you're not intense enough. I need someone like Eric Bailly. Maybe he can coach Eric Bailly a little bit better than he can Lindelof because you cannot coach, and I've said this before, you cannot coach the fear factor out of players. You cannot coach courage into players. I seen Eric Bayer throw his body on the line more times in one game than Maguire and Lindelof have in a whole season when he played against Atalanta. I mean, that block he made, and he single-handedly kept Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in a job against Atalanta. That's what I believed at the time. Yeah, he's rash, and he proved that against Liverpool diving in at the front post. But I believe that you can coach a player, the basics and positional play and reading of the game. You can't coach a player's, you can't make his balls grow bigger. Let's put it that way, yeah? You can't make Lindelof turn into a machine of a man who's going to throw his body on the line. Bailly's already got that. It's embedded in him. He will do anything for his team. He's just lacking upstairs, I think. Ralph coming in, that's what I want to see. Is Bailly going to come to the fore? Because he's not going to be bothered, Rangnick, about changing players and just bringing someone in from the cold. This is what Tuchel did. Look what Tuchel has done to Rudiger. He's one of the best. He's one of the best defenders in the Premier League right now. He was gone. He was finished. The Chelsea fans didn't even want him. But look at him now. He's coming. He started Alonso for 7 games at the start of the season, ahead of Chilwell. And now look, when Chilwell's got that injury, who's ready to come in? Alonso, because the manager trusted in him. I put the confidence back in his game. So he is now ready to come in and play in that team. So Bailly could easily come into this back three for me. And I'm intrigued to see what happens when Rangnick gets his hands on him on the training ground. That is key in all of this and this team that I'm picking right now. The midfield 5. Now, Luke Shaw was on the left. That is my biggest doubt. It is. I want to give him the benefit of the doubt, like I said then with Maguire, the likes of Bayer. Rangnick getting hold of him and changing him and making him that perfect wing back because he can do it. We've seen Shaw improve. He's a confidence player. Solskjaer got into him and made him more confident. He didn't change his ability. He didn't make him a better player. He just filled him with confidence, and that's when Shaw flourishes. So Shaw, he is a doubt. Rangnick's already, like we've talked about, come out and said that Luke Shaw is a player that isn't a Manchester United standard. He said that. So can he change him? Will he be willing to change him within 6 months? Like I said, his reputation is on the line. Is he going to have enough time to change Shaw? Or is he just going to put in a Telles who might be his better fit, who thinks he can coach better? Because Shaw is stuck in his ways now. Telles, we don't know because he's not had the opportunities. So Shaw, my left wing back, is the one big doubt. That's what I've gone with. My midfield would be a trio of Fred, Donny, and Bruno. Why? Energy, press. All 3 are all too willing to press. And we know Rangnick is the godfather of the press. So that's why I bring them in. And like I said with Fred, maybe Rangnick can coach him into that Makelele style player. Settle down. I know I'm not comparing Fred to Claude Makelele. I'm comparing a player that knew his role and mastered it rather than being that player that Solskjaer is trying to make a better player. You know what I mean? When he's clapping him on the sidelines because he's taking a shot that just goes on target. That's pathetic coaching at its finest. I believe Fred can do a job. McTominay could well be that one who does it also, but only one of them. And then in the summer, that's where the money needs to be spent, and Fred may not get in the team, depending on how well he adapts under Rangnick in this next 6 months. But there is the big signing. I do think that a centre-forward, centre-midfielder, centre-back again, I don't know, in the summer is what United need. Prioritising centre midfielder, though. That's where I'm going with that one. But yeah, I do believe that them 3, Bruno, we know, covers more ground than any other player in the Manchester United team on a match day. If you coach that and you utilise that properly, United weren't doing that under Ole and the coaching staff that are currently there. I said this all along. This has been my argument with Ricky. And Ricky thinks that Bruno Fernandes is useless. He's not useless. We know he's not useless. The stats don't lie. He's created more chances than anyone in the Champions League this season. Man, the man's got 6 assists in the Champions League and he's having a bad season. He's got similar in the Premier League and 4 goals to his name as well. He's not horrendous. And if you put a proper coach in there, he could be another level altogether. And that's why Bruno is in there. The energy and his creativity is perfect, I think, for Rangnick. Donny, I don't even have to explain. The smartness, the energy again, perfection. Absolute perfection for Rangnick, that is. I do believe he's still got room to grow. And I do believe that he will do. So I think with Rangnick there, Donny, Fred, Bruno, I think that's a great midfield for him in such a short space of time. And remember, guys, I'm basing this on the period of time that Rangnick has got in charge. So that's where I'm basing this team around. Will Donny finally get game time now? Dave, he will for me, mate. He will for me. Mark, Rice and Bellingham would be dream. Oh, Bellingham would be absolutely awesome if we could. If we could turn this around and make this happen, it would be absolutely perfection at its finest if we could get Bellingham in there. Imagine Bellingham in place of Fred next to Bruno and Donny in that midfield. Under Ten Hag. Ouch. C'est la vie. Sure, Rice, I think, would be too dear. Now, getting back to the team, this is where it gets interesting. Now, listen to what I'm saying. Right wing back, Jadon Sancho. And I know all the palaver about everyone going in on Sancho as a wing back and being converted to one is complete and utter garbage. When it came out the other day, I was in agreement. And I'm not jumping ship or flip-flopping. I said this is how Conte would make this team work. I do believe the adaptability of the system and the formation, Sancho can play that wing-back role. I didn't agree with it under Ole because he's not a coach. And Ole bought Sancho in to play in the 4-2-3-1. That's why he bought him. He couldn't make it work. And that was what convinced me that Ole was not going to be the man to take us forward. That was it. So Sancho goes in on the right, and the adaptability of the formation, it doesn't always stay that way, but Sancho's got a role in there. His work rate, his sprints, work. And guys, it isn't the full-on wing-back role. It's not. I do believe that Sancho can play that role because he is very defensive-minded as well. He tracks back constantly. It will come naturally to him. That's where I'm getting at with it. You may disagree, but I believe that a proper coach can make Sancho work in defence and attack. And anyone who says, look, Adam, Ricky's right, then this is what I'm saying. Talking about wingers who track back, this is where it does work. And you'd be interested to see. I've not got Rashford or Greenwood in my team, and everyone knows how much I rate them. I'm judging this realistically on what Ralph's got in terms of time at the club and what players are here right now that can work in a system. For me, Rashford and Greenwood don't get in. They simply do not get into this team. So for me, I do think the front two, and this is where it gets interesting. The question's already been asked regarding Ronaldo. The rest question's been asked regarding has he got the capability to play the pressing game that Rangnick wants. I think Ronaldo can adapt to anything. I think he is going to be fine. I've not got a worry with Ronaldo. Honestly, I do believe that he is going to just adapt. He's at that time of his career where he knows the conversations will happen with Rangnick, and I think his philosophy will come across straight away. Ronaldo will be on board with it. He knows the reputation, and I do think that Ronaldo will still be a permanent fixture in this team. I don't think it has to be, but I do think it will be. And I will put Cavani next to him. The work rate speaks for itself. Now, obviously, you're going to bring up the question, Cavani, he can't play every single week. Well, that's where Rangnick gets on that training ground and figures out which one of Greenwood or Rashford or Martial work best in this system. There's a place for the three of them because I don't think, I would say Sancho definitely gets in the team ahead of Rashford, Greenwood and Martial. Now, that's a big statement from me. Rashford has the energy and the work rate. He just doesn't do it properly. He doesn't. And I think a coach will change him. So I think Rashford probably tips, I don't know, because I think Martial comes into the fray now. I do. there is a place for Martial in this team under Rangnick, I think. Greenwood, unfortunately, and I think, like everyone says, the generational talent and everything that he is can be worked and can be used. But I'm thinking timescales here. There's big decisions to be made. You've got 3 or 4 players fighting for 1 or 2 places there. And this is where someone of quality like Rangnick is needed and has to come in to sort this out. Solskjaer couldn't do it. Absolutely failed with it. All Man United fans just want to see is Donny happy at the club. Seeing Donny on the training ground, smiling, buzzing with that, absolutely brilliant. Seeing him starting games, he didn't do great against Villarreal, but he had a role to play. And you could see what Carrick was doing, being solid early doors and just trying to stay in the game and then letting the flair players release in the second half. So Donny played his role. He sort of got sacrificed a little bit, in my opinion. That's what I thought. That's what I would have said in terms of his performance. He just did the unselfish stuff and didn't shine as much as like Bruno did when he came on. But we know what Bruno is. Man, Bruno could have had a hat-trick of assists just in his spell that he was on for 20 minutes alone. That's what he brings. It's now time for the coaching setup and the new system coming in to utilise the qualities of our players, because it's there. And it's like I said, the jigsaw puzzle is there. Put everything in place, get it ready to connect, all ready for Ten Hag in the summer. Football's simple, isn't it? It's simple, guys. Players to leave. Let's get into that. I mean, that's an interesting one because you don't want to sound too critical, but there are obvious ones. There really are obvious players who I think might be out the door. Guys, drop yours in as well. Some people in the comments there are actually saying, "Will Lingard play?" And we know the engine that Lingard's got. Will he be thinking now? Oh, hang on a minute. I was looking at West Ham in January. Am I signing this deal now, knowing that there is a completely new regime coming in? Could I get back in this Manchester United team because I'm being looked at fairly now, where I wasn't before? I wasn't being lied to, which he was. You can't argue with it. He was, because he would have been at West Ham if he wasn't. So Lingard, I'm just thinking about that there. Then it just opens it up and goes, I don't know. Is Jesse Lingard now looking at other clubs or hanging around? Perfect opportunity. It's a month before the window opens. And there's a lot of games. And it's probably the ideal time for Ralph to come in and just go, right, okay, that, no, him, no, can't get that in that system. Probably won't work for the next manager either. Maybe it's a good time to go and try and clear the decks, because he has been given permission to clear the decks. That is what's been rumoured within the contract that Rangnick has signed, that he has got the authority to move players on as well, which is a big thing. It is a massive thing. So the players on the list that could be going out, now bear this in mind, this is my list. You guys may have a totally different one, but I do believe that this list can change as well, going off like what we just discussed in terms of other players getting the opportunity and being coached by Rangnick. And if they fit in, perfect example, like I said, Rudiger at Chelsea under Tuchel is completely out in the cold, comes in, Champions League, quality player this season, absolutely brilliant centre-back. So this can change. It really can. So the obvious ones, Mata, Jones, players like that, see you later. I do believe Henderson will go as well. I don't think Rangnick's going to change anything with the goalkeeping situation. Henderson, Jones, Mata, these my list, by the way. I'm just going to roll them out now and then we'll go through the ones that we think could actually turn it around as well. Mata, Jones, Henderson, Lingard, Martial. I do believe Lingard, Martial, Pogba. I think they're probably the main ones, I would say, because I think Pogba's already gone. I do believe he's already signed for Madrid. I've been told that, and it has been rumoured everywhere. He has got his eyes set on Madrid. And you know what? Yeah, he can go. Matic is a good one as well. There, Shane just brought up in the chat. He could be one. Definitely. I mean, the age, he's not got the legs. as much as all the other midfielders. Will that work for Rangnick? We don't know until he gets his hands on them. But all these players, I would say, barring Jones, Mata, Henderson, Pogba, on this list who I think are going out, could easily come back in again or be changed on the training grounds. That's how close it is. And that's what we're all waiting to find out. But I do believe Pogba's gone. I think Henderson's gone. Mata, Jones, these players have got no place at this football club right now. It was a close call between Henderson and De Gea at the start. But even I had to hold my hands up and say, look, De Gea's nailed down his spot now. We'd be bottom half of the table if it wasn't for De Gea this season. And we've got the De Gea of 4 years back in the team now. So, yeah, De Gea's safe for me, and Henderson's the one who has to go. You have to be real with it. Yeah, you get your opportunity, you take it, fair enough, hold your hands up. That's you. You're in. Done, dusted. Jones, say no more. Yeah, say no more. Mata, again, as he played, what's the point in him? Don't like to say that like that, but it's truths. That's what it is. Mata is done. People saying Axel to be recalled. I don't think we're going to see that. I think Axel will stay at Villa under Gerrard. And I think the decision will be ultimately for Axel at the end of the season. Is he going to come back and the next permanent manager holds off on buying a centre-back because they can make something of him? Nash says, unpopular opinion, but McTominay should go. We don't know who's going to go. We don't know. We don't know how the players are going to react to this. And like I said, a month now for everything to be sorted, and then the players will know exactly where they stand, and we'll be out the door either January or the summer. That's where we're at. So I do think that McTominay won't be going. And the players that I've mentioned there, I think, are the ones that are in danger. I really do. Pereira, behave. But guys, I mean, do you think, honestly, that Pogba is going to fit in this team? Do you think Shaw is going to fit in this team? That's why I've not put Tellers on the list. If we did have the old regime in charge, then I would be thinking Tellers would have been looking for the exit door, personally. I do. But I do think that he is now right in line for a place back in this team. I do believe that Tellers has an opportunity now. So, yeah, whereas Tellers was on my list before, I do believe now, and I've not put him on it, and I put Jesse ahead of him on the list as well. I'm looking, right, okay, because he'll come in, Ralph, he will look at all of these players, he will give everyone equal opportunity, but then one thing that people are forgetting also is he will be looking at the youth players. He will be looking at Ahmad. He will be looking at Hannibal. He'll be looking at McNeil, Hugel, Shoretire, all of these players that are in the youth setup, he will be looking at, and he will go, right, okay, future-wise for the next man in charge, can these players come through and do better than Jones, Mata, Matic? Do you know what I mean? Can they do better? Can they be the reserve? Can I make the first team squad, first team or first 15 really, really strong, wean out the ones that aren't going to make it, and then utilize the quality that's coming through in the youth? You know what I mean? You've got Alanga to come through there, who's a great player. Alanga one side, Ahmad the other side. These players can progress under proper coaching. And like Liverpool have done, when they introduce their youngsters and City, because that first team is so stable, it's so much easier for them younger players to come in and actually stake a claim and feel more confident and comfortable in a system that's working, that isn't forever changing or players are not on board with. Right now, over the last 5 years, I would say it has been the worst time in Manchester United's history for young youth academy players to come into the team. And that is where Ralph Rangnick coming in will change things up again. He will look at it, and with him being given the power to get rid of players as well as recommend signings, I don't know if he'll sign anyone in January. I do believe he won't. But if he's got the opportunity to wean out some players that aren't going to make it, maybe we won't be spending as much money. Maybe we will be bringing youth players through, because you look at a combination, and why this video is titled Ten Hag, Rangnick, the combination of them two plays so much into the hands of Manchester United's youth players that it's inevitable people are going to start talking about it and putting two and two together, because that combination of Ralph and Ten Hag works in every single avenue. The style of play, the structure of football above, the youth players coming through, that's the DNA of Manchester United. Forget marquee signings. United did not make marquee signings. They bought players in that worked. Yet we made world-class players. Yeah, the reputation of Ronaldo and Rooney, we turned them into world-class players. Roy Keane turned into a world-class player at United. When we started making marquee signings, or so-called marquee signings, that's when it went Pete Tong. The Di Marias, the Falcaos, all these players, the marquee signings, so-called, did not work. The one that I would say worked, Van Persie, probably sticks out for me. That is the big one. We bought players that were in the marquee bracket at the wrong age. Schweinsteiger, Cavani, Zlatan. This is where the structure of the club was completely wrong. And yeah, 2-year spells, that was great. And we've seen the quality. But we're now seeing the quality, but we can't see it consistently because we bought these players at the wrong age. So this is where it's important for people to understand that Ten Hag carrying on from Rangnick is so important, because everyone talks about the DNA, bringing back the United DNA. The United DNA is making superstars. It's not buying them. Yeah, United should always be in the bracket or in at the top table for signing quality players. We should, yes. And if the opportunity comes around for a player to come in, like Sir Alex Ferguson always said, then we'll go for it. But look at the players that have left United, the ones, the big names. They were made at Manchester United. They weren't brought in. Rooney's, Ronaldo's, Van Nistelrooy's, these players, all the youth players that came through, the legends of this football club. Yes, they had a reputation and the potential was there. That's why we bought them. This is what a structure of a football club looks like. That's what it used to look like. That is the DNA of Manchester United. And it is going to take time to adapt to the style of football that Ralph Rangnick is going to bring. But all we've got to do is look, right, we've gone that far over what we want and expect at Manchester United. We now need to just build it back up again. The core of the squad is good enough to compete, and we can just add to that and make it work. And that is why I think Ten Hag is ideal and why Ten Hag should be the next man after Ralph. And that's what I'm hoping Ralph will bring. And that's hopefully what input he will put across. Quick super chats. Jones, arguably the way he is looking could be our best ever player, Sir Alex Ferguson. This is it, mate. On the other hand, the flip side, we buy the potential. Jones was potential. He had a good first season that I can remember. But if you cannot hack it at United, you ultimately see the door. And that's what we haven't done either. The players that did not make it from the potential signing, and not all Sir Alex Ferguson signings were absolute superstars, were they? We know this, but the door was there and they were shown the door. Since them days, we've had players hanging around forever and a day, stealing a wage from the football club. That's not the United DNA. If you're not good enough for Manchester United, given the opportunity to play, then you're out the door. It's as simple as that. I've said this before, we can make or destroy careers at this football club. And right now, I do believe we've got a core of a team that can compete. But the structure around it needs to work, and that's where we're going with it. And that's what excites me, and that's what excites a lot of United fans. And ultimately has taken us right through to the end of the show, guys. That's a nice, easy hour. Look at that. Just as I announced we're about to finish, a super chat comes in. Guys always do it. Absolutely brilliant for the super chat. Cheers for that, Mark, mate. I know we're getting very excited, but the bloke hasn't run a training session yet, alone a game. We need to keep our feet on the ground. We are all singing Ollie's at the wheel at one point. Mate, they're firmly on the ground. That's what I'm trying to get across. The excitement of the Ralph Rangnick deal is the fact that it is 6 months. It's the fact that he is coming back as an advisory, director of football, whatever it may be, to make it better going forward from the end of this 6-month period. That is why people are excited, because there's a structure to this deal like none other before that this football club has made. And it is football related and football at the centre of it. That is the importance. So that's why I'm not getting carried away. But guys, that is the end of the show. Cheers for tuning in, everybody. Get your likes in on the video as always, and obviously subscribe to the United Stand, bottom right hand corner there. I will be back later on today. Who knows at what time? It will be sooner if announcement has been made from Ralph Rangnick, but I'm back tonight with a fan forum at 8 o'clock, and the guys will be on with me then. Do tune in for that as well. Guys, for now though, thanks for tuning in. It's been a great show. I've loved talking to you all. Comments have been on point as always. I'll catch you through the day. Enjoy the weekend and stay safe in the crazy weather.